I am here to confirm that Reinforces, in fact, taking Joss's job as my casting partner for this, at least this match. Were you getting FOMO or something?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is amazing. Yeah, I was the only talent member who had a pink outfit, so naturally with your pink hair and my pink shirt, we had to combine for the Bubblegum Bonanza, I think so we called it. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite name for the pink versus pink, the Hangzhou Spark versus the Florida Mayhem.
You're so tall. What happened here? Did you grow?
They artificially gave me an extra foot so that I didn't look short.
We're just handing out feet during the playoffs. It's crazy.
I need the extra height. You know, I'm a little vertically challenged, but that's okay. Anyway, we got to talk about the next match ahead because this one is going to be another banger. It is another elimination match, and the loser of the Hangzhou Spark versus the Florida Mayhem will be going home. Both of these teams have had a pretty long journey in playoffs already. They're going to be playing their fourth match today.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, they had a pretty tough challenge in the upper bracket there, I say, because of course, Hangzhou Spark, they were forced to play the Dallas Fuel in their match, and they got swept 3-0. On the other hand, though, Florida Mayhem playing the Seoul Dynasty. The two front runners really win the tournament. So we don't really know how to assess the Florida Mayhem and the Hangzhou Spark. They both came out and they looked really good playing the Sojourn composition, of course. But they ran into very tough opposition. Now let's see what they can do in the lower bracket. Yeah,
we're definitely going to have to take a look at how both of these teams handle each other, especially when we've got the Sojourn versus Sojourn with the Shy and the Hydron matchup. I think that's going to be really fun. But also, what do you think of the Kiriko head-to-head that we're going to see here as well between Teru and Surmajet?
Yeah, this is going to be one of the more fun Kiriko matchup because, of course, Teru has already made a name for himself as a former damage player to take up on the support role on the Kiriko has fallen. And he's definitely provided when it comes to the hero damage done on this hero. Really good at forcing out some of the cooldowns, the Sojourn slide, for example, which opens up a dive target for your own team, Gushu on that Winston, but also forcing away some of these cooldowns, for example, the Bell from Kiriko herself. So both Surmajet and, of course, Teru on the Hangzhou Spark, they really have that offensive capability alongside the healing that you need to get done on a support hero.
Yeah, you kind of need to do both roles, that's for sure. But without further ado, let's welcome our first team to the stage. It will be the Hangzhou Spark.
The Hangzhou Spark, they started off this season very strong, of course. It started 9-3 actually when it came to the regular season. And we were thinking this is finally the time of the Hangzhou Spark. They've solved some of their coaching issues and some of their player rotations. But then towards the end of the regular season, it started to crumble for them. They had a bit of a 2-14 match win streaks. So we were thinking, what's going on with the Hangzhou Spark? Are we going to get the good Hangzhou Spark or the less performing Hangzhou Spark? But going into the playoffs, this is a team you really need to watch out for, especially with Shy spearheading that Sojourn pick.
Absolutely. I think the damage lineup is going to be what everybody has their eyes on right now, especially when you look at the second DPS in the lineup. Alpha Yi or Pineapple? It's going to be Alpha Yi starting today.
Yeah, that's the big question as well, because Alpha Yi, of course, started off the tournament for the Hangzhou Spark, but after their loss to the Dallas Fuel, we saw Pineapple in yesterday for the Hangzhou Spark when they played against the Toronto Defiant, and Alpha Yi actually rounded out on the 5th map, snagging that win for the Hangzhou Spark. So, settling for Alpha Yi in today's matchup, they did say in the post-game interview yesterday that they have two different styles they can bring. A bit more of a passive Reaper that plays with the Winston, and an aggressive offensive Reaper. So we'll see what style the Hangzhou Spark brings today.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be the aggression to be able to play the control map to kick off this series, but we've got to bring out their opposition. So please welcome to the stage, the Florida Mayhem.
And this has been an incredible story this entire season. Perhaps not getting the credit they deserve going into this season. I feel like they've really started to blossom as these players have gotten experience. We talked to head coach Gunbo, of course, to end the season, and he said, we just wanted to pick out the best players possible. And this potential has really started to flourish for the Florida Mayhem. Rookies like someone on that Winston role has done a spectacular job rounding out this hero pool. Hydron, who was initially picked up as a Tracer player for this team with XC on the long-range hit scan, instead it's been Hydron all the way, now the Sojourn player for this team. So this has been an incredible roster that sort of built their own confidence over time, and now in the playoffs they're looking real scary.
They are, and I remember looking at the Sojourn head-to-head that the desk brought up before we got into the match, and I feel like Hydron's stats might have been a little unfair to him. he was the target focus for a lot of the opposing Winstons for their previous opponents in this stage. And what do you think about maybe the play styles of each Winston and how that could affect Sojourn performance for both of these?
I mean, someone on the Florida Mayhem, he's one of the most aggressive Winstons we have in the entire league. So that is going to give Hydron the space he needs to be able to create these first eliminations. If you take a look at the first elimination stats on Sojourn, Hydron is a top 5 Sojourn in that category. So that is definitely helping the Florida Mayhem throughout these playoffs, being able to get that first pick. That is going to open up the door for some of these team fight wins. On the other hand, you have Shy on the Hangzhou Spark. He is a premier Sojourn player for this team. I'd say he's top 3 in the entire league. And they even built a composition in the June Just, of course, around Shy's proficiency at this hero. So as we head over to Busan here, bit of an interesting map choice, I gotta say, Nick. I'm just spearheading into the stats already, because this is a map that the Hangzhou Spark, they've only played 3 times this season. It's their worst control map, and their 2 most recent matches on this map, they've lost to the Guangzhou Charge and the Los Angeles Valiant. So perhaps the upper seed for the Mayhem identifying a bit of a weakness here in the control map role.
I think you might be onto something with that one as well, where Florida, they do get their map choice to kick off this series, and then we go into loser picking the next map for this first to 3. But I feel like Busan is going to be really important for the Spark to nail, but Florida's going to make that difficult for them with maybe just less experience on this map for Hangzhou Spark overall.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have as much experience playing these maps in the regular season, it's a randomized map format, of course. You don't commit as much practice time onto this map, so that could maybe be a bit of a difficulty for the Hangzhou Spark, Florida Mayhem acknowledging that weakness. I do want to say as well, though, that I don't want to stress the importance of Hangzhou Spark actually getting off to a good start here. They're one of the weakest teams in the playoffs when it comes to escort maps, but also push game mode, which is going to be our 4th map of this series, right? So if you're the Hangzhou Spark, you really need to be able to rely on hybrid maps, which is our 2nd game mode, and these control maps that are being played first and last in these series. So if you're a Hangzhou Spark fan, you want to see them get off to a good start here on Busan.
The gates are going to open up, and for both of these teams, we will see what has been meta so far for this playoff stage, and that is going to be those Sojourn Reaper compositions with Winston at the helm. Already, Florida Mayhem is going to make their way up to the high ground, but it's going to be a jockey for position here as Guxue is going to start to get a bit more aggressive. Hydron, though, charging up that railgun, is going to start to look for a pick, using that disruptor shot to try to blow away the backline. But someone's already down, so the front line for Florida Mayhem has been washed away, and that's going to have to be a big reset for Florida.
And you can see there Tiro getting 2 picks on the Kiriko immediately. This is a Kiriko player that you really need to look out for when it comes to the flanks. Tiro, as I mentioned, he likes to go on these wide angles and force out some cooldowns, and right there, hitting 2 headshots on the Florida Mayhem, opening up the doors for the Spark.
Definitely going to take a look at how these Kiriko do play, because they do like to take a bit more of an aggressive positioning.
There you go.
Already on the high ground. You'll see the Suzu used by Sir Majed already just to make sure that the Florida Mayhem can get to the point safely. But as Alpha E gets taken out, that is a huge chunk of damage removed here for Hangzhou, as now Florida Mayhem can clean up the shop and take back control of the point.
So throughout this series, I really want to have a look at someone on that Winston for Florida Mayhem, how much space he can create for the rest of his team. Right there, you're seeing him dive pretty far in, even challenging a Reaper, which is known as the counter to Winston, but he wins out that duel and creates enough space for his partner in crime, Checkmate, there on the Reaper. Checkmate, he's been a bit questionable so far in the playoffs, but he really had a standout performance against the Atlanta Reign. We're looking to see him continue that in this series against the Spark.
Well, as he's working up to that Death Blossom as well, maybe Checkmate will continue to play a bit more aggressively, but with a huge pick onto Hydron to start things off, Hangzhou Spark already have a player advantage moving back towards the point. They're going to go ahead and use the Kitsune Rush as well, just to ensure that that damage hits its mark. And there you go. Another point flip and point cap here for Hangzhou.
Yeah, it's a nice use of the Kitsune Rush from Tiro there. And now already you're at 34% capture rate. You have 4 ultimates up here for the Hangzhou Spark. And so far, I feel like we've seen Alpha E really stick close to Guxue on this Winston, trying to win those neutral fights and get a health advantage early on. Alpha E setting up for the Death Blossom. This could be crucial right here.
Look at where he's sneaky. Just gonna go in with the Death Blossom, the Suzu on top to keep him safe. With a big pick onto Hydron, that should be a big team fight win here for Hangzhou, but Florida Mayhem are still investing resources. It's gonna be double support ultimates with the Kitsune Rush as well as the Sound Barrier, but it was a little too late to be able to save someone's life. So Florida Mayhem have to back off to try again.
Yeah, Florida Mayhem getting a bit antsy there, utilizing both support ultimates and recognizing that Teru didn't have his Kitsune Rush. That is when we want to try to get value from our own Kitsune Rush, Jet, of course, on the Florida Mayhem. So now you're down 3 ultimates, and we're getting close to last fight territory here, Nico.
Well, Shy's going to try to end things now as he does go ahead and pop the overclock just a little bit, as Hydron also trying to make his way back to the point and get a pick of his own. Checkmate still has yet to use the Death Blossom, so that's another tool that Florida Mayhem can rely upon in order to take back control. But it looks like you might not even need it if you're Florida, as you do have Shy and Alpha removed from Hangzhou Spark, and Florida Mayhem take back the point in just the nick of time.
Hangzhou Spark building up to 98% here, winning here. They only need one more team fight to win out this round. And Florida Mayhem, they're struggling with their ultimates they committed prior, right? So now you only have Checkmate with this Death Blossom. He is lingering pretty close here, so let's see if he can use it early on to win a fight here for the Mayhem.
Okay, well, he looks like he's just going to go ahead and use those Hellfire shotguns to get up close and personal with the Spark. If the Spark make a quick rotation, but if someone dives in aggressively, he's going to go ahead and force out both Winston bubbles. That provides a pretty nice opening here for Checkmate to go in with the Death Blossom if he wants to.
So Teru has this Kitsune Rush right here, but the Florida Mayhem, I think they're going to acknowledge here that they have to go fast in this fight.
Well, there you go. It's going to be a huge, fast fight, but a pretty quick death for Checkmate as he goes in to use the Death Blossom and right into the loving arms of the Hangzhou Spark with that damage boost and that movement speed that was enabled by that Kitsune Rush. And so just like that, objective number 1 secured for Hangzhou. And
there you go. That's why we respect the number 12 seed Hangzhou Spark so much. That this volatility in the performance of their game. Shy having a great round to kick things off there as well, and Alfie on that Reaper sticking close to Gushui. This is a very good fundamental style when it comes to this composition right here, and I'm impressed by the Spark so far. Florida Mayhem, let's see if they can use that aggression in their favor and catch the Spark off guard.
Yeah, maybe after Gushui uses a cooldown, Florida Mayhem can capitalize when that or even the Reaper Wraith form isn't available. So that way maybe Florida can go in and carve out an opportunity for themselves. But it looked like a pretty solid round there for Spark, pretty dominant.
Pretty dominant indeed. So now, Hangzhou Spark, they're of course going to utilize the Symmetra teleport to get our spawn early here. Alfie, use that in your ranked games. That's real helpful. Gives you the rollout, and now we get to see both teams clashing.
Yes, they're both going to meet each other on the high ground of Mecha Base, our second round here on Busan. Shy already taking an off angle to try to charge up that railgun, looking for a snipe. He's gonna wait for the perfect opportunity as you see Hydron try to grab an elimination as well. Now the Winston's dueling around this pillar, but huge from Hydron. Gonna be able to snipe out Gushui, and the rest of the Hangzhou Spark are going to fall. Florida Mayhem will be able to go get the point capture in a bit.
That is exactly what you want to see from Hydron if you're a fan of the Florida Mayhem. Being able to find these picks early on, I mentioned the first eliminate when it comes to his Sojourn play. It's spectacular so far in the playoffs. Florida Mayhem, they have that aggression going for them, but they need to capitalize on this positioning. Look to Hydron to open things up for the Mayhem.
Yeah, I mean, Hydron's already going to play a little bit aggressive here to get the poke. Teru already down. Means that the Hangzhou Spark have to go back and get a reset again. Hydron's just going to keep him at the door, too. Someone with the Tesla cannon damage, just grabbing that poke. Nice rotation here from Florida as well to make sure that they've got both of these entry points on lock. Hangzhou Spark, though, they're back as a full team of 5. And Hydron's just down. Okay, Shy just getting the Sojourn diff at the moment. Maybe that opens things up for Hangzhou Spark to get in here and get their hands dirty, as Shy has earned himself the overclock. But if you're able to win the fight outright, then you don't have to use those ults.
So I'm a bit surprised there by the Florida Mayhem's movement. They decided to back off pretty early there, but because they won that first fight, they actually had the advantage when it came to generating that Kitsune Rush. But instead they back off, they allow Hangzhou Spark to enter this control point, and perhaps I would have liked to see some more aggression from the Mayhem, utilize that Kitsune Rush to your advantage. Now instead you're looking at Hangzhou Spark with the room, and they're going to go aggressive themselves.
It's just going to be a layering of Kitsune Rushes here, as you also see both Winston pop the Primal Rage. Tons of sustain on the board, as well as Super Rich decides to go for the Sound Barrier to enable the Spark more to be able to get in and get aggressive. Shy, though, with a big pick onto someone, removes that Winston for the Florida Mayhem, and Hangzhou Spark will keep control of the point.
But it's not the worst thing in the world. Super Rich there, he committed the Sound Barrier for the Hangzhou Spark, ensuring they win that fight. Animo still on the Florida Mayhem, he has that Sound Barrier to their advantage. So let's see the Florida Mayhem if they can go aggressive with this Sound Barrier and win the fight before the Hangzhou Spark finds a pick.
Yeah, I would love to see that as well, especially when Hydron has the overclock too. Oh, but the Death Blossom at the door here from Alpha Yi, the Suzu on top, and there is the late sound barrier from Animo after they've already survived the initial pressure from Hangzhou. It's Death Blossom.
That is a veteran experience as well, like Animo. You can see the Death Blossom coming out to top things up here for the checkmate. The cherry on top of you, Will.
Yeah, that's it. Checkmate for Florida. Going to be a point flip for them, but a huge investment on both sides.
Huge investment on both sides. Of course, Florida Mayhem committing both the overclock and the Death Blossom as we take a look at the replay here with checkmate. This is what you want to see if you're a Reaper main. I know Malik gets his home. He's a Reaper main. He's smiling somewhere. He's watching that.
Absolutely. I mean, the Death Blossoms, when they're able to pop off there and get those 3-player picks, are absolutely fun to watch, but we are starting to enter into last fight territory as Florida Mayhem continue to rack up percentage on this point. Hydron taking a high ground position, a flank, the disruptor shot from behind, especially after Shy was able to get checkmate out of the way, but maybe Hydron lack of presence for this team fight is actually working against them here.
Yeah, you need to find that opening though, and it's so hard if you're a Sojourn player, right? Because yes, you have that positioning, but there's a Winston bubble in the way. Gushu is in the way on this Winston, commanding the presence in that front line. So Hydron looking for a flank there, doesn't turn out too great. Hangzhou Spark here, we're getting close to last fight territory for the map, and they have Soundberry and Kitsune Rush.
Okay, looks like maybe Florida Mayhem tried to go for a sneak attack there as you saw them crouch their way into this fight, but it's Kitsune Rush for Teru. Super Rich uses the sound barrier on top, and Sir Majed gonna layer down the Kitsune as well as Alpha Yi goes in for a Death Blossom flank, but doesn't look like there's gonna be anybody for him to go after. Gushue's just gonna
He's hunting
down Animo, remove him from the battlefield as this flip should be able to come through here for Hangzhou Spark, and then overtime starts to wick down.
We're getting close to the end here. 4 members now with Hydron coming back for the Florida Mayhem in last fight territory. They have to win this fight out, but Shy gets a pick onto Hydron.
Huge pick there. Checkmate starts to get low, has to Wraith form away, but in the chaos, it looks like Florida Mayhem's gonna grab the point back from underneath Hangzhou Spark's noses.
Animo's gonna get this sound barrier. This is gonna be huge.
Okay, it looks like it's gonna be coming online now, and right away will be used as what? Checkmate's Death Blossom gets booped up into the air as he's able to get that damage down onto Shy, and Florida Mayhem follow that up, will be able to take over the point and tie it up on Busan to go to a 3rd round.
What an amazing ending to this round. Super is going to try for a last-ditch effort, but he doesn't get there. And remember, this all started with Gushue on that Primal Rage flank, of course, and Sir Majed coming back to protect Animo, keeping Animo alive, and then Animo builds that sound barrier that turns things around. Yes, it's checkmate with that Death Blossom, but credit to Sir Majed for rescuing his Lucio and building that sound barrier to turn things around.
Oh yeah, I mean, being able to swift step over to the Lucio too makes it really easy to grab access, make sure you can save your teammate, and it really did play a huge role in Florida Mayhem being able to get that point back. But I want to see what happened here with maybe the checkmate Death Blossom. What happened?
Finds a nice pick onto Alpha Yi right there. 2 actually. And that is going to secure the point. 83% for Florida Mayhem, but they get that cap there, which means they only have to win that last fight and they get the round. So we get into the final round here on Busan.
Yep, heading over to Sanctuary, one of the smallest control maps that still exists. And it's going to be Hangzhou Spark beating Florida Mayhem to the punch there to get to that control point. But with the positioning that Hangzhou Spark is taking, you'll see the angle that Shy has found onto Sir Majed in the back line of Florida. And so now Hangzhou Spark going to get aggressive and force Florida Mayhem back before they capture the point.
Oh, but Hydron finds a pick as well.
What? Okay, maybe this is going to make...
But Shy finds a pick back! It's crazy.
It's just Sojourns popping Sojourns and getting all of the railgun kills in the world here, as finally I think we're going to see Hangzhou Spark take control.
So this is going to be interesting. If there was any point in the control map right here, we would see some teams swap to Tracer to navigate these flanks and shut down these Sojourns. This would be the point. But instead, both teams, they're sticking to the Reaper here, which means that the Winston and the Reaper, they're going to control these very tight choke points rather, and we're going to see big plays coming out of the Sojourn. So look out for Hydron and Shy to find this pick early.
Yeah, well, someone already went on to the right-hand side, jumped in right away to be able to force the front line of Hangzhou Spark back. But Shy gonna remove that Reaper for Florida Mayhem from the field. And that's just another reset as Hangzhou Spark start working up past 40%.
So how do you deal with this if you're Florida Mayhem? I'd like to see them go on the left side here to perhaps gain some space towards the point, but instead it's looking like they're going to challenge the Spark here in main. Shy has such a beautiful vantage point here on the point. He's going to look for a pick once more, but it's Hydron this time who opens it up.
Okay, well now Shy though taking the angle with the overclock, hoping to even the score. But yeah, Florida Mayhem gonna grab the point capture right underneath Hangzhou Spark. Shy though still finding eliminations as Super Rich goes for the sound barrier to help sustain the Hangzhou Spark through this fight. And I think the overclock and the sound barrier worked here. Hangzhou Spark going to take back control.
Absolutely. There are few players that are as lethal with that overclock as Shy. Hydron not finding that value himself. But once more, we find ourselves in a situation where Animo is building that sound barrier. And Thermogel is pretty close to this Kitsune Rush as well. Spark with their own Kitsune Rush, they might push aggressive here with Tiro.
But I think the biggest differentiating factor is that Alpha Yi has the Death Blossom ready and approaching last fight territory. If you got Kitsune Rush and you have the Reaper, you can get a ton of value out of just the Hellfire shotguns and of course that Death Blossom. So let's see what happens here as Hydron opens things up with a huge pick onto Super Rich. So removing that Lucio, removing that ability to rotate around as Gushue just trying to get Hydron out of the way, but the bubble will not be enough to save Gushue from the damage lineup of the Florida Mayhem as they also invest Sound Barrier and Primal Rage into that point cap.
And that is the important part right there. As soon as Gushue noticed that Super Rich got picked, there is a 4 versus 5 fight right here. But we don't need to win this fight. We need to just win one single team fight remaining. So Gushue, he jumps onto Animo to force that Sound Barrier unnecessarily out. And that is going to be a huge factor right here when Gushue and Alpha Yi comes back into this fight.
Yeah, now you don't have that Sound Barrier as a response to the Death Blossom that Alpha Yi has held on to. Already looking at the Winston headshot to be able to just help pressure the Florida Mayhem back. But Checkmate's got a Death Blossom online as well and is looking for an opportunity to weave that through the Winston bubbles as Hangzhou Spark just playing it safe.
Sneaky beaky like from Checkmate, here he goes!
Oh, the Death Blossom here from Checkmate is not going to be enough as Shy just eliminates him before he's able to get anything done with it. Now Gushue has his back against the wall as he's looking to try to force the DPS line of the Florida Mayhem back.
Hydron?
Okay, Hydron just still finding picks with a Winston in his face. And Teru now, I mean, we're entering into the last fight here, Johnny.
We're entering into the last fight right here, and Hydron still has that overclock. Gushue with the Primal Rage and the Sound Barrier for the Hangzhou Spark. Look to Gushue to put pressure onto Hydron. They cannot allow Hydron to go rampage with this overclock.
No, and so I think that might just be Gushue using the Primal Rage to get up and close and personal in his face.
Here we go.
Hydron, though, using the overclock, just going to use that movement to try to get away from Gushue's positioning as the Primal Rage is hunting him down and throwing him against the wall. Eliminates him from the backline, and this should give Hangzhou Spark an opportunity to get rid of the Florida Mayhem from the point and try to get back. But Florida Mayhem,
even.
They're not done yet. They want to close out the map here. That is 3 picks for Florida. Maybe a sneaky back cap here coming in from Hangzhou, but it's really just Winston and Lucio on the point, and against Checkmate's DPS output, Super Rich is down. Gushue is trying to get away, and that's Florida Mayhem's first map to them.
What an amazing map. That is about as close as it gets, Nekra, right there.
I know.
Boiling it down to the final fight. What an amazing performance by both teams here, but it's Florida Mayhem coming out on top on Busan.
And that's really important. You were talking about how Hangzhou Spark kind of needed this win in just the way that the map pool is going to progress for the rest of the series.
Absolutely. I mean, the Hangzhou Spark, they needed this map dearly because of their weakness perhaps on escort and push maps, but instead it's going to be Florida Mayhem getting away with it. I would like to say though, Hangzhou Spark, they are top 3 team when it comes to the hybrid maps coming up next. So Hangzhou Spark are looking to bounce back on perhaps their strongest game mode in hybrid.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Hangzhou Spark decide to bring us to for the next map in this series after we come back from this short break. What's up?
ultimate's coming out, Primal, and a nano tactical visor. It's matched by Merit, and shut down just as quickly. Hydron with the 4K!
Call that one a 5K, Lemon. The American Tornado spins up and gets those Houston Outlaws out of here. You can go all in, but I hope you got insurance against the weather, baby.
Oh,
that's
it's
huge.
nasty! 4 players hit with a bionic grenade and the follow-up. Oh, it's there. It'll rue the day. You let RuPaul into your backline. Snuck in the corner there.
No way! Animo booped the duplicated Winston.
The sleep into the pond.
The broom comes out and the Mayhem sweep them away. Unbelievable!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League Playoffs. We are right in the middle of our match between the Florida Mayhem and the Hangzhou Spark, where Florida Mayhem are already 1-up in the series so far. What do you think of Checkmate's performance on the Reaper?
It's impressive so far. I mean, Checkmate, he is a player who I would consider pretty tactical, even when he plays Tracer, which is a very intense, mechanically skilled hero. He likes to be tactical the way he plays around the map, and you can see here in the Reaper stats on Busan. 12 final blows with his 8 deaths. He's making sure to make a difference for the Pro Main.
We saw a really nice slow-mo replay of that 3K Death Blossom that happened there as well on Mecha Base. That felt like such a big difference maker. When Checkmate has those Death Blossoms online, I feel like he's just able to go in and get jobs done.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think people usually consider Reaper a very intense hero because, you know, you have a couple of cooldowns and you have your shotguns and all that. But a player like Checkmate, he's really able to utilize his cooldowns very effectively. He acknowledges when to time and use that Death Blossom when there's no Sun Barrier, when there's no Winston Bubble, for example, to protect the opponent team. So very strategic decision there from Checkmate, and it's paying off in the stats. Bit of a crucial player for as well, especially here against the Hangzhou Spark. You're playing against Gucci and Alpha U, right? That's where you want to make sure that your Reaper can get value, and Checkmate is doing it so far.
Absolutely. I mean, both of the DPS players on both teams have been trying to kind of outdiff each other, especially when it comes to that Sojourn versus Sojourn. I feel like a lot of that first map we saw Shy getting picks onto Hydron and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Shy had a tremendous amount of impact there on Busan, right? But now we're heading into Paraiso, so a bit tighter angles. Not as many flank opportunities, so maybe this will be more of a Winston and a Reaper kind of map.
And this is Hangzhou Spark's pick. Because they lost that first one, they get to pick our next map, and they're taking us to Paraiso. What do you make of this?
Well, this is a map that Hangzhou Spark, they've found success on. They're 4-2 so far on this map, and this is actually the map they beat Dallas Fuel on now. Dallas Fuel, they're a titan when it comes to these playoffs. They're looking really good. So the fact that a team like the Hangzhou Spark, they were able to take down Dallas Fuel on Paraiso, that is a really good vibe heading into this match against the Florida Mayhem.
And I mean, Hangzhou Spark's hybrid map win rate is super impressive.
Yes.
You had been, teasing out that Hangzhou Spark's probably
top 3
the
in
best.
fact.
Yeah, top 3 in hybrid win. I think it's 70% or
Yeah.
something ridiculous.
This is by far Hangzhou Spark's best game mode. So again, stressing the importance. If you're a Hangzhou Spark fan, this is the kind of map you want to see them win in this series, and perhaps give them a lifeline when it comes to the later game modes. We got Escort on the horizon and push for that map 4. But here we go, Paraiso. So looking forward to see how both teams approach this one. Of course, we're going to see both teams utilizing the high ground a lot here, and that is going to make it easy for Reaper to perhaps drop down into the enemy backlines, or even contesting the opponent Winston, right? So see what we've got in store for us.
Yeah, typically we do see the defending teams, which is going to be Florida Mayhem in this case for this first round, set up on this kind of initial high ground, but then make a quick rotation towards the back when they do see the enemy team start to approach them. But for now, it's just going to be some high ground presence towards the front for Florida, getting that Tesla cannon damage down when they can, and also the poke there as Hydron looks to try to charge up these rail guns. Checkmate's getting a little low here as Teru starts to go on a bit of a flank.
He's just flanking.
That's kind of what you expect from that player though, right?
Yeah, that's what you expect from that player. Got Gucci diving up there, trying to win some of these cooldowns. Teru again on the flank. What is this man doing?
Okay, he's just gonna go back there using the Suzu pretty selfishly to make sure that he can get the heck out of dodge, get back to his team, but it's going to leave Shy vulnerable when that Suzu is not available for that immortality. So Hangzhou Spark, they lose Shy, they lose Gushwei. Florida Mayhem smell blood in the water as they push Hangzhou Spark back towards their spawn.
Yeah, and that's the right point you're making right there, right? Because Teru, he's on these flanks, he's forcing out this bell, right? And that is unable to save Shy in the end. So perhaps Tero, he needs to stop with these flanks and help out his team instead. I do want to take a look at Gushue though, because he's forcing these dives onto the high ground, and perhaps that will find an opening for the rest of his team. Alpha Yi, for example, on that Reaper, trading bubbles here, and Alpha Yi is up on the high ground, trying to find an advantage, but so far, Florida Mayhem, they're holding strong.
I mean, there's just been a nice call and response here for Florida. As Gushue jumps in, someone jumps right back into the action. But everybody on Florida Mayhem is playing pretty safe, just within the architecture of the map. Teru takes a fall. Hydron, though, does get a
Shy? Oh, Shy's just gonna do Shy things.
Okay, why is he even called Shy? He's not really that shy of a player now, is he?
No. Pretty aggressive with it, but someone's going to go out and save there with a nice Primal Rage here. This is the thing though, Hangzhou Spark, they've taken so long to really contest this high ground at Florida Mayhem. They've been able to build up these ultimates. You see the Primal Rage coming out from someone right there. But they already have the Sound Barrier themselves. They already have this Kitsune Rush, which gives Florida Mayhem the options. They don't even care that much about losing this high ground, because they can drop back towards the points. So for the Hangzhou Spark, this is really about winning two team fights. They're just gonna go for the points straight away.
All right, well, it is going to be dueling Kitsune rushes, but as Super Rich goes down, he doesn't have the ability to build up to that Sound Barrier anymore. And Gushue gets taken out before he's able to activate that Primal Rage. But smarter to hold on to those ultimates if you are the Spark, because you have a minute and a half remaining to try to even approach this first point.
And again, it's beautiful ultimate management from the Florida Mayhem. Now you won two fights, the first one with Primal Rage, and the second one with only Surmajet's Kitsune Rush. So now with 1 minute, 20 seconds to go, you still have Hydron with the Overclock, you still have the Death Blossom to go, but Hero finds a pick onto Hydron. They've been looking for that all map long.
Yeah, maybe a little bit that high-risk, high-reward play actually being a reward here for Teru, as that giant threat in Hydron has been eliminated. The Hangzhou Spark are absolutely going to move on this one, as Super Rich is going to invest the Sound Barrier to allow Hangzhou Spark to get aggressive. But as Checkmate goes for the Death Blossom, Alpha Yi just goes in and takes him out. So now, Florida Mayhem, after investing the Sound Barrier, the Death Blossom...
Hydron?
What? They're going to invest the Overclock too? No way, Hydron gets away with this!
Alpha, you look at the punish with that Death Blossom, picks up Surmajet and Hydron as well. Still have a little bit of time to find these picks. They're playing safe here. Someone may be able to build up this Primal Rage, but there's a Reaper in your face.
Oh, there's a Reaper in your face, and the Reaper is going to win out that duel. Florida Mayhem kind of played a little risky there. Was that a hero play from Hydron?
Bit of a hero play, but I think the entire team, they understood that we have Hydron coming back with the Overclock, recognizing how good Sojourn is and can turn these fights around, right? So I wouldn't call that a mistake at all. I think it was very calculated from Florida Mayhem, giving themselves an opportunity to full hold on point A. It didn't work out that time, but it's a nice calculated risk from the Mayhem. You're still good there. 2 minutes 30 for Hangzhou Spark to cap out point B, and this is historically a really difficult point for the attacking teams.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you kind of got through the first hurdle, which was unlocking the payload, and now you have to escort it through the street space of Paraiso, where all of these buildings make it really difficult to figure out where you want to attack from. So as Gushue starts to play in between these buildings, he's going to get caught out by Checkmate going on of this flank.
And this is where the Sojourn really starts to be questionable when it comes to its effectiveness. Of course, Sojourn's always going to be good. It's a crazy hero, but you have this street corner, right, where you have Checkmate and you have someone on the Winston and the Reaper. They're able to be really effective here when it comes to diving and hitting up these flanks, right? So Hangzhou Spark, they only have this Kitsune Rush at their disposal, and they're going to look to push this card up, and then Florida Mayhem can push when Hangzhou Spark are inside.
Florida Mayhem have the ability to respond to Hangzhou Spark's Kitsune Rush with a Kitsune Rush of their own. So they'll do just that, as Hydron is able to take a step back and use the space that someone, Winston, has created for the team to grab a really nice reset. Hangzhou Spark, they invested the Kitsune Rush, then they're looking to come back with a lot more.
They're looking to come back with a lot more, of course, using that Kitsune Rush. But they have the Sound Barrier up still. Florida Mayhem, they're sitting at 4 ultimates right now. If I'm the Hangzhou Spark, I want to take 2 fights here, if possible, and try to get out as many ultimates as possible. Put pressure on the Florida Mayhem. And I'd follow Gushue here on the left-hand side flank. Utilize the speed boost and the Sound Barrier to go these close cornered range. If you just open yourself up here, Hydron's going to have a perfect sight angle all the way.
Well, these fights are going to have to be really fast, because Hangzhou Spark have 50 seconds remaining to make the most of this attack push and hopefully secure that second objective. Shy trying to find an opening with this overclock.
They need him to find a pick.
They do, especially when it's coming down to the wire now. 35 seconds left and counting as the overclock is now active for Hydron. He power slides forward, forces out the disruptor shot, and
Now they
tries
turn
to
it.
corral, but great sound barrier response from Hangzhou Spark to keep them alive and in this fight. Alpha E goes in with the Death Blossom, doesn't find any picks with that, but it's enough damage for Gushui and Teru to follow that up and start to make their assail of this street space.
So let's see if Florida Mayhem do something similar they did to point A. They do have the Death Blossom at their disposal, and they should have enough time to respawn and get back into this fight. Anemone, the Lucio, is going to escort Thermojet back here, and if you can perhaps take a fight here and just dive onto Shy with that overclock, this could be a fight win for the Florida Mayhem. This could be a huge hold for them.
Well, Gushui has that Primal Rage ready to go, so might be able to play Doorkeeper as he does pop the Primal Rage to start juggling Florida Mayhem away from the point and into the sightlines of the Shy and Alpha Yi. The Overclock and the Primal Rage are a good enough combo for Hangzhou Spark in overtime to secure that second point.
And Hangzhou Spark, they are really good in overtime, as we already identified, of course, on point A and now on point B as well. They're really efficient when it comes down to the wire. I really appreciate how they pulled back there to force Florida Mayhem in. This is something the Spark are really good at when it comes to turning these fights around. Florida Mayhem, though, 1 minute remaining here, and they already have the Death Blossom and the Kitsune Rush, perhaps going a bit aggro right here.
Looks like the Econ is going to be in Florida Mayhem's favor, as they just want to try to stop Hangzhou Spark in their tracks. But Teru is looking for an opening to use this Kitsune Rush. Teleports backwards to be able to help the team. Suzu onto Alpha Yi, to be able to allow him to teleport away, but Checkmate is still able to chase him down. And Florida Mayhem already are eating so much time off the clock here that Hangzhou Spark have 40 seconds remaining.
Again, we're down to like last fight territory here. And Florida Mayhem, they still have this Checkmate Death Blossom. They're gonna go in.
Well, they are going to go in, but someone just gets chunked down there as Alpha Yi is able to utilize that large Winston hitbox and take him out. But Alpha Yi now, too, just trying to get back up to another Death Blossom, as Checkmate still has yet to find an opening to use his. But at this point, too many members of Florida Mayhem are down that they just want to escape to be able to regroup to contest.
So it's all about regrouping here for the Florida Mayhem. That push failed right there onto the spawn. And the Hangzhou Spark, they have this Kitsune Rush. Kitsune Rush is an amazing ultimate. Let's see if Spark can make it work here in overtime.
All right, they're going to have to. But Checkmate still has yet to do the Death Block.
He's
dropping into the back line. He's going to drop down. But the Winston Bubble is enough. And Teru taking him out. This is a big push here for Hangzhou Spark in overtime. The overtime champions. Securing point A, securing point B, and maybe even point C as we keep the cart rolling. Alpha Yi, Gushui, Super Rich right now are looking to utilize their ultimates as it's just Alpha Yi trying to push this payload forward.
Who can touch? You have Anemo, the sound barrier. The Florida Mayhem, they're going to throw themselves at this point. So much pressure being caught. Checkmate has to find a pick here.
Okay, Anemo sound barrier is good. It is able to get the overhealth onto 3 members, but with the Death Blossom, Alpha Yi is going to secure that third objective for Hangzhou Spark.
Yeah, what an impressive push there by the Hangzhou Spark. You didn't really feel like they made a ton of progress here on Esperanza, but instead in overtime on point B and then overtime point C, they make it happen. Florida Mayhem there, both on point B and on point C. We saw them go aggressive. They wanted to take the fight to the Hangzhou Spark, but Hangzhou Spark, they're pulling back. They found that pick onto someone on that Winston that really opened up point C here. So that is something to pay attention to. Florida Mayhem with a bit of an aggressive tendency so far this match, and Hangzhou Spark feeling pretty comfortable pulling back and opening up the fight for Shy to return those frags.
Yeah, I love that because we see teams oftentimes just kind of respond to the aggression with aggression of their own instead of saying, oh, you want to use cooldowns to try to get towards us? Go ahead. We're just going to use our Lucio to back up. I love that you brought that up because I do think that that's a very interesting mechanic coming into play here for these teams.
Absolutely. The Hangzhou Spark, they struggled here on offense. They couldn't really take this bridge because of their aggressive Kiriko play. Let's see if Florida Mayhem can replicate that. I do want to spotlight Lucio here on this very specific point because we're all playing on a bridge here to kick things off on Esperanza, and that's where Lucio with that wall ride mechanic, he can really come in handy and get those boops off to make sure that you can find an opening. If you boop up the Reaper, for example, they're going to have to wait for him out, and that's when you can find a pick onto them. So let's see if Anemo can do something here for the Florida Mayhem rolling out.
What else do you expect from Teru except to try to get up and close to those spawn doors of the Florida Mayhem to get a little bit of poke damage out as those doors open. But that does leave Hangzhou Spark pretty vulnerable. You know, you use the swift step to be able to get back to your team, but now you're not able to get out of the way as Florida Mayhem start to gun you down. Already, we're gonna see Gushue get sent back to spawn as Checkmate's gonna take this opportunity with no Winston bubbles to go in and get aggressive with these Hellfire shotguns.
Oh, Super is gonna get picked here as well. Shy finds an opening, so they trade out Lucio's here, but Florida Mayhem, they have the point control here. Checkmate's gonna try to hold this back.
I mean, they have the territorial control here too. Despite the fact that Gushue is able to come back here with the bubble. Wait, maybe that's good enough? Shy is absolutely just popping off that it takes Checkmate to invest those mobility cooldowns to get in his face and remove him. But all the while, Hangzhou Spark is able to make a triumphant return.
Yeah, Hangzhou Spark here. Really lucky they have Shy on their team right there to sort of secure those 2 frags. The Florida Mayhem, I mean, you can't really anticipate all that damage coming out, right? Shy finds that opening pick onto someone, and now Florida Mayhem, they find themselves back here with no real space. Let's see how they control it.
Well, someone is going to go ahead and try to jump after Teru's Kiri. That does force him to use the swift step to be able to get away. Kitsune Rush is going to go through. Alfie not able to be saved there, as now Hangzhou Spark, they are going to be playing at a player disadvantage, and that's just going to amplify as Florida Mayhem played down a Kitsune Rush of their own. And despite Shy being a big playmaker here for Hangzhou Spark, those 2 picks are not enough to hold on to the defense here for Hangzhou.
Not going to be enough this time, and this is really where you see someone in Checkmate kick into action on this Winston and this Reaper. Point B coming up here as well, and you still have that Death Blossom, you still have the Primal Rage. So if you're lucky here, Florida Mayhem can catch Hangzhou Spark before they're able to build this sound barrier themselves, for example.
Yeah, I mean, so much crowd control available with the Primal Rage, the Lucio boop. Florida Mayhem really want to try to get into maybe a high ground position to drop down with this Death Blossom available, but Shy, it has all these corridors on lock. Looking in every single direction, the Disruptor shot to be able to lock down main. You've got the Railgun ready to go, keeping the charge by just being able to pepper some damage in, and now maybe, Hydron gets really low, loses the 1v1 as Sermage tries to jump back to save him. All the while, Gushue into the front line with the Primal Rage, just gonna boop everybody off the map. Oh no, Checkmate. No, Checkmate's coming back for more.
We love the boop kills. There they go. I mean, Gushue, we gotta talk about this guy. He's had a standout performance so far. And if you take a look at the replay from Gushue with this Primal Rage, he's going to secure the frag here onto Animo. And then he just swipes Sermage away.
He
Gushue,
actually just threw hands.
He's throwing hands.
Every hand throw was a kill. But now it's time for the overclocks. Hydron and Shy dueling it out, looking for those opening picks, forcing out the sound barriers on both teams. But as that Hoper Elf starts to expire, someone using the Primal Rage not only to keep himself alive, but also Checkmate. Right after that sound barrier over health was gone, went in at the perfect moment.
It's a perfect moment right there, and both teams committing a lot of ultimates there. So Florida Mayhem, they're going to have control here, and they're going to just keep pushing aggressive. This is their hallmark kind of playstyle right here, holding these corridors. One more fight, and the Florida Mayhem will secure point B here. They're looking to rely on someone in Checkmate here in the front line.
I mean, that last fight was so expensive.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And when you have the Kitsune Rushes available for both teams, kind of looking at that, maybe to be the difference maker. But when Hydron is in spawn in Florida, when they do have 2.5 minutes, just want to take a reset here and come back.
Yeah, I mean, Shy has 15 final blows so far this match compared to Hydron's 6 final blows. So a bit of a Sojourn diff so far on this map. You can definitely tell that Shy is one of the best Sojourns in the world. And Hydron so far, 6 final blows, 12 deaths, sort of crumbling a little bit here for the Florida Mayhem. You need to rely on him to find these opening picks. We're going to have two Kitsune Rushes here, and Florida Mayhem, they waste no time.
Yeah, well, someone's gonna pop Shy. Maybe look for another pick as someone just continues to control the DPS of Hangzhou Spark. Hydron finding himself in a little bit of a rough spot here as Gushue feels forced to use the Primal Rage, but it pays off this big dividend. Animo now also being sent back to spawn, and that progress onto the sound barrier ulted. As this has just been trades back and forth, but still Hangzhou Spark holding out strong.
Yeah, 1 minute 30 about now, and Shy continuing to just rail the Florida Mayhem down here. Getting close to an overclock as well, but Hydron has his. Let's see, Hydron utilizes his.
Okay, well, a lot of focus fire being put onto Gushue as the quick knife onto Super Rich as he pops his head out. enough of a finishing blow to the Hangzhou Spark's point B defense.
This is the Hydra we wanted to see. Comes in with the overclock and finds 2 opening frags. Going to finish off Super Rich here as well, as Florida Mayhem cap point B here. 2 minutes 30 here, so they have a decent amount of time to finish off this point right here. You got a Sound Barrier coming up alongside Super Rich on the Spark, of course. And Florida Mayhem, if they can build this Kitsune Rush from Sermojed, that could really open up this point C for the Florida Mayhem. So we got 2 minutes 20 seconds. Checkmate. Checkmate.
Checkmate. Wait, where's he going?
Death Blossom.
Okay, he's teleporting up behind Hangzhou. He does get spotted out though, so a media focus gets turned towards him, but Hydron in the chaos is able to snipe out Alpha Yi. So with that player advantage, Florida Mayhem is going to continue to push this card forward as Checkmate, putting on the pressure, wants to use the Death Blossom.
And he has to get through the rush. The Florida Mayhem, they just want to go. The bell comes out from Tiru. The Suzu.
They have to use it because otherwise Florida Mayhem's going to kill them while they're sitting in spawn.
I mean, Checkmate, he just wants to go again. He wants to push in with this Blossom.
I mean,
Super Rich going to be crucial here with the Sound Barrier.
Yeah, I mean, Gushui's playing a little bit scared. Okay, nice rotation here from Hangzhou to be able to get out of spawn, and a great Sound Barrier from Super Rich, but it is not in time to be able to save Shy. Then Teru gonna have to use the Kitsune Rush here to give Hangzhou Spark a fighting chance, as he is able to take out Checkmate in that Death Blossom, but Florida Mayhem with those support resources removed. No more Sound Barrier, no more Kitsune Rush. Gushui now gonna be sending Animo back. That is going to be a pretty big fight win here for Hangzhou Spark as they hold on at the very last moment.
That's a massive fight win there for the Hangzhou Spark, because not only do you prevent the Florida Mayhem from capping, if Florida Mayhem had capped there with over a minute, of course that's only Florida Mayhem with their only attack left, but instead it's going to boil down to the final fight here for the Florida Mayhem to try to win this point C over. Hydron, he has struggled a little bit at this map so far. Now with the overclock, they need to look to him to open this fight up for them.
Overclock now for Hydron. Gonna power slide up into the air to get on top of the high ground that Hangzhou Spark are currently controlling. Gushui, though, does get eliminated.
Shy! What is that?
What? What was that snipe from Shy, giving Hangzhou Spark a fighting chance? As Alpha Yi now takes out his counterpart and Checkmate. Someone, though, fighting back with Teru, and nobody's gonna be able to touch. Okay, Alpha Yi is able to get there, does stop Florida Mayhem from sinking it in, and buys enough time for Gushui to get back and Shy to use the overclock. The Kitsune Rush from Sermojed from underneath the building. Florida Mayhem try to get back, but as 3 seconds start to tick down and overtime chances start to expire, Florida Mayhem have no choice but to throw their bodies on the point. And with that Sound Barrier as the cherry on top of this map, Hangzhou Spark holds strong and tie up this series 1-1.
22 final blows for Shy on that Sojourn, carrying Spark across the finish line to finish off Esperanza. What an amazing standalone performance by Shy right there. Gushu as well on that Winston, helping the Spark to finish off this map. Wow, we got a nail biter on our hands.
That is such a nail biter. I mean, the bubblegum bowl here living up to high expectations. And this is when it counts the most in this first of 3 series in the playoffs. The loser will go home. So nobody wants their playoff streams stopped here.
Wow. I can't wait to dive into map 3. Can we just start the next map right now? I'm ready to go. Boot it up. Boot it up.
Just let's start. No halftime break for the players. No, they definitely need the time, I think, to recuperate, because that was a super close map on Paraiso.
That was a super close map, but if you're the Florida Mayhem right here, you know, I wouldn't be too upset with this loss. Now you have 2 prime opportunities here on Escort and Push coming up for your team to really finish this series out here. There were still some good things for that map though. For example, I think that Checkmate really came alive as well. Someone's continuing to be aggressive. He's not falling back. He's not stepping down here for the Florida Mayhem. And if you are the Mayhem, you know that aggression is going to be your path to victory. So I want to see them hold their heads high and keep being aggressive.
Well, we might have expected the Hangzhou Spark to tie up the series on their best game mode, Hybrid. But what happens next as we head over to Escort? Only one way to find out, and that's to join us after this break.
They're using the rally here as well. Like, they think this is maybe it is winnable.
this will do his best now to try and get that cooldown back. It has been used, proper save by the commanding shout there. Soldana, see low HP on a couple of members there. Fixer runs up the fence and collects them down. Sorka trades on the period, it's a 1-1 so far. Sorka gets further kills here. Sorka's just doing so much work with Soldana. No, 3 kills, both the supports down. Pulls the blade on the back of it, hunts down MN3. Zess is the only one alive, and well, the ace might not be there, but Sol will take the win regardless.
All right, there you go. The shock, they pull the blade to get the checkpoint. A trade you'll take any day in the week. But Kilo, and an unbelievable ult from Kalush. He hits 4 members of the Vancouver Titans, piling on the pressure. 4 kills for the Junker Queen.
Overclock triggered, takes 1 shot, beat from Legion, Spark goes down. Doesn't need the headshots, the bodies are enough. But he uses one for Sorka, uses one for Bidane! Oh, Lip! It's sweet music to our ears. That's the fight win they need, and they're going to take control of the map.
They're using the rally here as well. Like, they think this is
Maybe it is winnable.
Pelican gets brought down. There was a flip from the Outlaws there, but the Defiant, they're doing so much with so little, I'll be honest with you. This is unreal.
I mean, when they rally, and it's Twilight, Shorong, and Hisu.
Won't get those support ultimates up in time to stop the fuel. Here they come once more as Kalio's dropping down, but he's already been picked up. Bob was deployed to the point, but Decay from low. Oh my! It cannot be serious, Decay! 3 to try and save the day for the Justice, and Gio's gonna fall to him as well. This man is unhinged.
Are you enjoying watching the Overwatch League Grand Finals? Well, there's still time to get your tickets and join us in person. Join us at the Overwatch League Grand Finals and catch Leah Denise and Charisse Booth, the voice actors for Junker Queen and Sojourn, live. Tickets are on sale now, so go grab them. And continue to join us because we have a banger of a match on our hands right now. Hangzhou Spark and Florida Mayhem in the lower bracket are fighting for their lives, and it is a close fight, Johnny.
It is a close fight. And we're seeing plenty of Sojourn. We're seeing plenty of Sojourn, Necro, I'll tell you. So I'm excited. I'm excited to meet up with the voice actors. That's going to be great. Absolutely, yeah. But we got a legendary match on our hands right here. This is a good one.
I mean, did you expect that Paraiso would be as close as it was? I mean, looking at how Hangzhou Spark have such a dominant win record on Hybrid and how Florida Mayhem have been kind of living up to the hype a little bit.
Absolutely. But I mean, at the same time, this is the playoffs. Like, we're not playing around anymore. These are some of the best teams in the world, right? So Florida Mayhem, they take it very close, even though Hangzhou Spark are revered for their hybrid map play. Florida Mayhem showing that they're not going to let any map go by easy. They're competing in every single one of these maps.
Yeah, like that last fight actually came down to the wire.
It did.
Very, very close to call, and it was just a couple of ultimates coming online at the right time, maybe a fast pick here or there that was a little unexpected that really pushed Hangzhou Spark's defense over the edge. But now we're heading into our third map of this series. It will be an escort map. And it's going to be Florida Mayhem's pick because they did just lose Paraiso. So they're bringing us to Dorado.
Oh boy, am I ready for Dorado.
Oh, come on, give me the stats.
I am ready for
give
Dorado.
Me the stats. I know you've got something up your sleeve for this.
The Florida Mayhem, obviously they feel ready. They feel like they are prepared to take on the Hangzhou Spark on Dorado. But if you missed out on the Overwatch League action earlier this year, I gotta tell you, Shy has the biggest deadlift final blow count on Dorado. So final blow, or deadlift, what is a deadlift, right? A deadlift, we consider that is when you gain more or over 50% of your team's final blows, right? And Shy of the Hangzhou Spark in the mid-season madness against the Philadelphia Fusion, one of the global tournaments we had earlier this year, Shy, he committed 65% of the team's final blows against the Fusion. And that was on Sojourn. That was on Sojourn. So, of course, Dorado, I feel like it's a bit synonymous now with Shy having that amazing performance on Sojourn in the mid-season madness. The Florida Mayhem, this is their map pick, though. So they are feeling like they have something in store for us. Now, so far this tournament, Dorado is like the opposite of Esperanza. We're going from very close cornered, you know, angles where Reaper and Winston can be really effective to now one of the maps where we've actually seen some Tracer play. We've seen some Echo play because this map is really opened up. So it allows for those flanks and those high skyboxes, the teams to utilize a wide range of heroes. So we can see Checkmate already on the spawn of Tracer. This might be a hero that he sticks on, shying away from that Reaper.
Yeah,
no
well,
pun intended.
Yeah, might have to look at maybe not having some Reaper play, at least for the first point, as Hangzhou Spark getting set up on the defense here doesn't have a Reaper either. It's going to be Alpha Yi playing the Echo. So an aerial unit here for Hangzhou Spark, as Florida Mayhem, they tried something a little cheeky. Hydron, they're going to go back over to the Sojourn, and Checkmate does in fact come out of the gates on the Tracer.
But someone, he's going in already, trying to contest the Hangzhou Spark here on this high ground. Now we're going to see, take a look here at Alpha Yi. Great at blowing up targets, utilizing those bombs, of course, and the beam to finish off these kills very quickly. But Echo can be caught off guard when it comes to the tempo. Tracer, a very fast hero, that might have Hangzhou Spark on their back foot.
I mean, Alpha, you saw that when he floated down, didn't have the ability to fly back up into the skybox. Actually needed the assistance of Teru with the Suzu to get out without being taken out by the Florida Mayhem. But they're starting to make their aggressive push forward as Florida inches that cart towards its destination. But yeah, that's a big focus beam from Alpha Yi to beam down someone. And Florida Mayhem just gonna respond to that by backing off.
Yeah, so if you've only seen Reaper come so far, I don't blame you because there's been a lot of Reapers so far. But this Echo is going to be very effective at breaking down someone's barrier and also taking down the tank of the Florida Mayhem. On the opposite side, though, as I said, it's a bit of a slower hero. So Checkmate, I think we should really hone in on Checkmate here, the Tracer player. He will be able to contest this backline of the Hangzhou Spark and dive quickly before Echo finds any effectiveness.
What I think is really cool about the Tracer, and maybe we'll have to wait to see that, as Gushui does eliminate Animo. So now no movement capabilities available for Florida. Okay, a pulse bomb getting thrown out here, but Terry was able to swift step away. Waiting for an opportunity to use the Kitsune Rush, but someone's able to gun him down. Sermage's Kitsune Rush, though, working out in spades here for Florida Mayhem, as Hangzhou, they just have Gushui be able to stall out the point before Florida Mayhem get this first capture.
And it's an amazing dive coming out there from Checkmate. They force out the cooldowns of the Hangzhou Spark. They're going to secure point A here for their own team, and they're going to continue this momentum now. Someone is already on the high ground on point B, contesting the space of the Hangzhou Spark, and meanwhile, Checkmate on that Tracer. He's going to go for a bit of a wide angle here, trying to contest the Hangzhou Spark and maybe pick off Shy before he can activate that overclock.
Yeah, that's the thing about their Tracer. It does require a little bit of that setup, but once Florida Mayhem's able to get a bit more aggressive, yes, someone is going to
Teru's on the flank as well.
High ground. I mean, okay, we kind of expect that at this point, but it's really Checkmate now. It's going to force LD to drop down and go for the duplicate. Goes to the Winston, maybe getting that Primal Rage online, but finding a little bit of trouble, getting some damage down onto the Florida Mayhem as they rotate away from this duplicate. Suzu to be able to save Hydron as he moves backwards, but that was it. Duplicate here from Hangzhou, able to deal with the defense so far. Now it's a Kitsune Rush from Teru. It's going to be an all-out brawl as Gushui also starts to throw hands with the Primal Rage, and that's just to match someone. Checkmate throws out the Pulse Bomb, but it whiffs, and So expensive reinforced.
So expensive, and the Spark, they still haven't found any picks. The payload is still pushing, and the Spark, using 3 ultimates, still haven't found that effect. This is what I'm talking about, the tempo, the Mayhem. They're happy staying alive, contesting the Spark, and now we see the overclock coming out from Shy. They have to find value here.
Okay, well, that's going to be some value here as Gushue Goomba stomps Hydron. Surmajet is able to get an elimination onto AlphaGi, but the odds are still not evened out as Hangzhou Spark coming back up to the high ground, bullying Surmajet away. And that is a huge defensive hold here for Hangzhou.
Yeah, so let's think big picture here, right? The Hangzhou Spark, they committed 4 ultimates already, and they really only won 1 fight here. Whereas the Florida Mayhem, they're happy utilizing this Kitsune Rush themselves. This might secure point B right here.
Very well could. I mean, the movement speed is going to allow someone to just speed forward. Teru in the backline once again trying to take a flank, but to no avail. And all the while, Florida Mayhem, they're splitting up their focus to be able to scare Hangzhou away from this defense. And so point B should be captured here, but look at this. Hangzhou Spark might be able to come back in for a recontest.
A recontest coming in from the Hangzhou Spark. They have to win this fight to hold strong here on point B. Gushue is going to take some space, but they're really looking to build this Kitsune Rush on Teru. Florida Mayhem trying to capitalize before Spark can build those ultimates.
Okay, now that Suzu has been forced out from Teru, so a little bit less protection available here from Hangzhou as Checkmate and Hydron are trying to race against Teru to build up to their ultimates. Checkmate does have a pulse bomb, but as someone is eliminated, now it's less than 2 minutes that Florida Mayhem have to assail this second objective.
Yeah, 1 minute 30 remaining here, and might be a bit tough here for the Checkmate on that Tracer, so we're just going to see him go for the Reaper. This is the sensible choice here, because you can't afford to take time taking these big flanks up on the high ground. Now instead you're looking to play with your tank and teleport up on that ledge.
Well, especially when AlphaGi switch over to the Reaper as well. Checkmate's going to have to give up that Pulse Bomb charge, but with that passive, does retain 30%, so he's not so far behind. But Hydron still has that overclock available, is going to use it, but in response, Gushue will go for the Primal Rage to remove Florida Mayhem from this high ground. Leaping from roof to roof, Kitsune Rush to follow up Gushue's Primal Rage, as it's just going to be a big pick onto Animo, as Hydron also gets taken out here too. What a great defense here from Spark.
They're very happy just rotating around here, and they're giving time here for Shy to find these opening picks. So far, not a ton of final blows, of course, but Shy already at 4-1. He's feeling comfortable on this hero. Florida Mayhem, though, 30 seconds to go on this offense. I don't think they're too unhappy. They got Primal Rage up. They have Sound Barrier and Kitsune Rush up. Maybe they can make some magic work with these 3 ultimates here when they flank around.
Okay, well, they can't layer both of these ultimates.
You gotta contest Shy here.
But you have to. So that's going to be someone's job. Someone jumping up to the high ground to try to force Shy away. The Primal Rage is happening in the back line as the Kitsune Rush gets laid down for Florida Mayhem across the cart. Someone with a fast rotate to be able to heal, get healed back up. But a huge bubble, maybe a great save. Florida Mayhem, Checkmate, able to secure that second point.
What a Death Blossom there by Checkmate as well.
Blossom.
And they contested Shy appropriately right there as well. Someone with that Primal Rage, he forces Shy back, and that gives space to the Florida Mayhem to sit on the payload, and it pays off with Checkmate with the Death Blossom, forcing the position of Spark and getting insane value with that Death Blossom.
That's what we expect, though. I mean, look, remember the stats card that we were able to show after our very first map of the series? Checkmate's stats were just off the charts. So we'll see him continue to play around with someone's Winston as they hold that front line. Hydron, though, gonna use some mobility to be able to maybe play a little bit of misdirection here with the Spark.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only ultimate that Florida Mayhem has available, right? So with this overclock, Florida Mayhem, they have to win about 2 fights now. And he's looking to find these snipes.
Gushue has his number, though.
Yeah.
Gushue absolutely has his number every time that Hydron has been trying to peek his head over the side to get behind Hangzhou. Gushue has always been there to answer. He's using the Primal Reach now. As that expires, he will find his way back up to the high ground, but it's coming down to the wire here. 20 seconds remain. Teru pops the Kitsune Rush, and it sends Florida Mayhem packing, as they can't afford to take any more losses here.
10 seconds remaining. The Florida Mayhem push back into their spawn, and Animo goes down as well. That's going to be the speed boost missing. You see Checkmate swapping over to the Sombra to try to get this touch. I don't think they can get there.
I don't think they can get there either. Look at the cart. It is completely left alone. And the aggression from the Hangzhou Spark is able to shut down the push of Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, still a decent push though. Point C, you give yourself time to hold on point A or point B if you're the Florida Mayhem. This is their map choice, of course, so yeah, I think they're feeling quite comfortable on this map. Wouldn't be too upset with that offense right there. Hangzhou Spark though, I mean, Shy has been a problem so far. He's 8-2 so far, deadlifting for his Hangzhou Spark team. 8 out of 15 final blows. You know he's going to pop off, right? So Florida Mayhem, I think that he showed some aggressiveness there on the Winston, recognizing that he needs to shut down Shy, but it's going to be even harder here on defense because Shy, he gets the opportunity to roam around and take the angles that he wants to take.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to how Hydron was getting completely checked by Guxue left and right, you do need to see the same type of response from someone. But I kind of feel like the play styles of each Kiriko are coming into the fray, where maybe Spark are just so used to Teru playing on their own, they don't necessarily know that he's going to be there to give that necessary backup. But when it comes to the Kitsune rushes, oh boy, do those enable Shy.
Yeah, and it's looking good as well. I mean, we mentioned the Alpha E versus Pineapple substitution for the Hangzhou Spark. I think Alpha E has done a really good job with those Kitsune rushes and playing alongside Guxue as well to open up the door for the Hangzhou Spark. So they had a bit of a struggle yesterday against the Toronto Defiant, but if Hangzhou Spark plays like this, they're going to be a beast for the Florida Mayhem the rest of the series.
It's time for Hangzhou Spark to come up to the plate and take their attack push here on Dorado. Alpha E just went for something, you know, the traditional cheeky Widowmaker pick, but didn't get anybody. As Florida Mayhem start to control the territory on the high ground of these first few buildings, the payload starts around the corner, and that's going to be Guxue's signal to jump up and take the opposite high ground. Oh, but Shy. Big picks here coming out from Florida. I don't know, Guxue, I might not stay there if I were you.
He's just zapping away. He's got a new ability in Overwatch 2. He's just doing a little bit of zapping. Long distance.
Long distance zapping, yeah, that's right. Wait, what would you call that now? Because we've got Wincon jump, Wincon zap.
Oh, I'm a Winston player. I just pretend that it's a railgun.
Oh.
I'm like role-playing soldier with that thing.
That.
I'm just going ham, yeah. Interesting here, Florida Mayhem, they actually give up the ground. So we saw them for the first minute contesting this high ground space. Now instead, though, they're looking to go aggressive with Hangzhou Spark already committing. But Shy finds an opening pick again. He's a madman.
Wow, I mean, that must have been some damage, and then the disruptor shot to slow Onimo down and then eventually take him out. But that's a huge opening here for Hangzhou Spark. Now there's no escape mechanism here for Florida, except for their own.
You gotta contest.
Rounds. And they might not even have time to come back in and contest. They've wrapped around the Hangzhou Spark. They've just swapped sides as someone is trying to keep Shy occupied, but the movement to power slide away. Okay, very close save there. It's Florida Mayhem coming clutch and cut it a little close.
Yeah, we got a bit anxious there, but I mean, the Florida Mayhem, I think they were purposely trying to take a slow fight there. Obviously gave opportunity for Animo to get back after getting picked off. But also, you built up those ultimates before the Hangzhou Spark, of course, because you won that first 1 minute of the defense. Now you committed the Kitsune rush, though. You're looking for Hydron to find an opening pick with this overclock, but Shy has one as well. It's going to be a battle of the Sojourns.
Okay, well, we're going to see Hangzhou Spark start to approach from the left as Hydron is setting up to use that overclock. But who's going to use it first? A little bit of a tussle here as Hangzhou Spark try to figure out how they want to approach this objective. Overclock's getting used by Hydron. Shy now with a little bit of a later one as Guxue just guns down Hydron in the front line as well. Shy? Hello?
He's just finishing them off. I mean, he's having a blast out there on this Sojourn pick, 11-4 now. So the Hangzhou Spark, they recognize, of course, that Surmajed, he has committed the Kitsune rush in the fight prior, so you want to take that fight quickly, right? Recognizing that you have more reload speed, of course, you have more attack speed in that ultimate ability, of course. And now the Hangzhou Spark on point B, they're going to be the ones contesting this high ground, take it away from the Florida Mayhem.
I love getting a chance to see the ledge use of the church, as you can see Guxue and Teru just taking a little bit of that sideline approach. Someone jumping onto the cart to stop its momentum. This pushes Guxue back a little bit as he just rotates around. Checkmate though, going after the back line.
Wow.
There's the Death Blossom, the Susan on top to keep him alive. And that allows him to have the sustain to take out Super Rich and finish the job here for Florida Mayhem's defense.
Yeah, a bit of a leftover ability from point A, of course. When Mayhem committed all those ultimates, you're able to utilize that Death Blossom in your advantage, and that's so good because that's going to buy you enough time for Sermajet to build up his own Kitsune Rush and someone to build up that Primal Rage. Hangzhou Spark now, they're on the offense. They have a Primal Rage of their own, but it's going to be a bit harder to find value with these ultimates considering, as you can see, they don't have any high ground themselves.
Yeah, I feel like Busan might even just need to use the Primal Rage to juggle Florida Mayhem off the high ground and make them a bit more accessible to the rest of the Spark, but someone playing a little bit deep in the backline here of Hangzhou has the Primal Rage available as a get-out-of-jail-free card. And we'll use that already just to kind of hop back and forth between the buildings, the high ground, the backline, the cart.
Okay, both teams have Kitsune Rush up now.
Yeah, those are going to get layered on top of each other as Alpha Yi goes in, Sound Barrier on top. And this is a huge investment here for the Spark. They know that it's pretty do or die when it comes down to using these ults and getting this second objective. Now, as the Florida Mayhem are going to be cleared off of the point, this should be a point B capture here.
Someone's going for it, but it goes down. And that is crucial right there. Not only did the Spark get the point B capture, but they're going to be allowed to push up here. Remember, Florida Mayhem, they didn't have a great point C offense right here. So the Hangzhou Spark, they're looking to capitalize on this early pick, controlling the high ground, and now maybe utilizing Shai's overclock to finish off this map.
Well, Hangzhou Spark, as they enter into this third point of Dorado, have 3 minutes remaining. And Shai, okay, overclocked on both sides. Shai and Hydron battling it out to see who's going to get the first pick. As Shai's able to get down to pretty
he missed the jump!
Misses the power slide that leaves him vulnerable to checkmate, vulnerable to someone. And Animo with the sound barrier just ensures that Florida Mayhem can push back the Spark and stop the momentum that they generated from capturing that second point.
Oh, what a crucial mistake right there. And it's someone on the Winston applying pressure, forcing that error from Shai on that Sojourn. Florida Mayhem now, they have to hold this point for 2 minutes. They only have this Death Blossom available. Maybe they can buy enough time for Sermajet to build a Kitsune Rush, but they're posting aggressively. They want to go in right here, right now, and win this fight.
Okay, well, they were going to have to force out some cooldowns first before checkmate is going to be able to weave in that Death Blossom. But Gooseway goes ahead and sets the pace first. The Primal Rage takes out Animo. Checkmate tries his best to win the Death Blossom, but it leaves him vulnerable to Shai to pick him off with a charged up Railgun shot. And with that team fight win, Hangzhou Spark get this cart rolling, and they're just meters away from bringing themselves up in this series.
They might just push this in.
Florida
Someone needs to get back.
Can anybody get back to touch? Okay, a teleport here from Checkmate. He does make it. Goes down to half health, but the Kitsune Rush layered over the cart here from both of the teams is going to try to give Florida Mayhem a fighting chance. Super Rich, though, with the sound barrier, gives over health to the Hangzhou Spark, and now Shai taking out someone is going to start to roll this into the Hangzhou Spark's favor. Members of Florida Mayhem are falling. They are off the point, and Hangzhou Spark, despite the odds of Escort not being one of their best play modes, do take the win.
And that is a huge win for the Hangzhou Spark right there. They had to either win Escort or push to give themselves a chance in this series. This is a massive map win for the Hangzhou Spark. And in what fashion they did it as well. Shai with a spectacular Sojourn performance. And will this be enough to put Hangzhou Spark advancing in the playoffs? Or will the Florida Mayhem fight back on map 4?
That's gonna be a question we have to answer, because this is a 1-to-3 series, with Hangzhou Spark being up 2 maps to 1. That they're on match point, so they could win it here, or Florida Mayhem could claw their way back. They've got one more chance after we get back from this break to see if they can even the odds.
thank you to all the fans that support us. Overwatch League channel just hit 1 million subscribers. We wouldn't be here without you, so thank you everyone.
Thanks everyone for getting us to 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
앞으로도 계속 쭉 봐주세요.
시카고.
Hi everybody, Danny here. Overwatch League YouTube is popping off. Let's keep on going until we reach 5 million, even 10 million in the next couple of years, hopefully.
Appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you for getting the Overwatch League channel to 1 million subscribers, and I hope you keep supporting us.
Thank you so much.
What's up everybody, it's Reinforce here. Thank you so much to the first 1 million users who subscribed to the Overwatch League channel, okay? We did it, alright? That was the cool kids. But don't miss out. You still have a chance to be part of the first 1 billion subscribers to the Overwatch League YouTube channel, alright? Wow. So get in there, subscribe to the Overwatch League YouTube channel. Thank you so much for everybody for subscribing, supporting the channel. And let's get the next pack. Let's go.
오버워치 리그 유튜버가 이번에 100만 구독자 수를 찍었는데 정말 일단은 100만 찍을 수 있게 도와주신 리그 팬분들한테 정말 감사드리고요.
오버워치 리그가 있기 때문에 저희도 있는 거고 저희가 있기 때문에 또 오버워치 리그가 있는 거기 때문에 이제 저희도 더 열심히 해가지고 오버워치 리그 더 승승장구할 수 있게 노력해보겠습니다.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy checking out the Overwatch League's 1 million subscriber. We did it! We made it to the promised land of success. I'm proud of every single one of you. Thank you for being subscribers and following us through it all. Here's to 100 million subscribers.
앞으로 더 많이 봐주셔서 200만 달성되기를 기원하고 그다음에 앞으로도 자주 봐주시길 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Cheers, love, Zoe here. I want to thank you all so much for your support and helping us achieving this beautiful milestone, 1 million subscribers. We obviously couldn't have done it without you, and we hope for many more years of your support. Like and subscribe.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Overwatch League Playoffs for 2022. We are in the midst of a tremendous battle between the Hangzhou Spark and the Florida Mayhem to see who gets to continue on in the playoff bracket. And Reinforce, I want to talk about our Kiriko for both teams. Teru for Hangzhou Spark and Sir Majed for Florida Mayhem, because this was a matchup we had some questions about coming into this one.
Yeah, I mean, two of our best Kiriko players we have in the entire playoffs, and both playing a pretty aggressive style historically. This match, however, is been primarily Teru dealing out that hero damage done. And of course, we saw previously that he's going for those flanks. He's going a bit too aggressive. So if you're watching from home, if you're gonna play ranked later, all right, don't use Teru as an inspiration for your own Kiriko play. I'm just saying, please heal the team. But yeah, you can see that Teru is having a lot of effect, especially with the Kitsune Rush assist there on Dorado. And that could be a huge factor once we go into our next map.
Yeah, especially when you see that Kitsune Rush predominantly paired up with aggression from the Reaper, the Sojourn. We saw Shy utilizing that oftentimes, and so I feel like with those picks, that's going to help pad that stat too.
Oh yeah, of course. It's going to help if you have a Sojourn popping off. But also, I mean, I think the Florida Mayhem, I think they did a decent job previously in the series of utilizing the Kitsune Rush on their own. A bit of a hiccup there on Dorado. It was their own map choice. But as we head into the next map, I mean, this is going to be Florida Mayhem again picking their map, and maybe they can improve some of that Winston, some of that Kiriko play.
And this is do or die. So the final hope for Florida Mayhem to get back into this series will be our push map, Esperanza.
Oh, this is Esperanza? Oh, okay. All right. I'm a professional Overwatch League talent, by the way. Sorry about that. All right, I see how it is. This is Esperanza. Okay, I got it. Stop tweeting me. I get it. All right.
It's Avril's fault.
It's Avril. I blame Avril, all right?
It's all Avril's fault.
Yeah, I don't want to say where he thought Esperanza was, but, you know, he's doing a little bit of trolling.
Just a little bit. But no, Esperanza will be our next destination in our series between these two teams. Hangzhou Spark up to match point, leading the series 2-1. So Florida Mayhem desperately need a win here so they aren't sent home.
Yeah, I mean, this is their last chance to continue their run in the playoffs right here. Now, going into push, of course, I mentioned earlier on in this series, Hangzhou Spark, they've struggled on Escort. They're the worst playoff team when it comes to Escort maps, and they're the second worst teams here on push maps. The Florida Mayhem, they've already found success on this map. They found it yesterday against the Atlanta Reign. Florida Mayhem, they got a win on this map, and the Hangzhou Spark, they've been unable to do it so far. So perhaps Florida Mayhem find a bit of momentum on this fourth map in the series?
Well, Florida Mayhem were able to make that work on the Busan choice when they picked that one strategically, despite the fact that Florida Mayhem don't have a great success rate on control. They were still able to pick Busan as one that Hangzhou Spark didn't have very much experience with, and not a great win rate on either, and that worked out in Florida Mayhem's favor. But the gates are unlocked now, and we're going back to the basics of this playoffs meta, which have been centralized around the Kiriko, the Winston, and that Reaper. It's going to be a tussle around this clock tower, though. Where are Florida Mayhem going?
Yeah, Florida going pretty aggressive here, trying to find the backline of the Hangzhou Spark, but Hangzhou Spark, usually he's just jumping around on the high ground. He's happy to stay away from the bot, and utilizing these high grounds is going to be key. That's a bit of a flanker from Hydron looking for an opening pick.
Okay, well that Disruptor shot's gonna split up the Hangzhou Spark's forces, as Guxue does...
Oh, Shy finds 2 picks!
Okay, well the split actually gets like...
And the punch!
Alright, that's just not fair. Shy was deadly enough with the railgun weapon. Doesn't need fists too.
Yeah, I mean, especially punching the opposing Sojourn player, that is a bit unfair. Take a look at the replay here. Shy dealing out the damage, and you can already see Hangzhou Spark recognizing they want to utilize this high ground. It's so important. I cannot stress it enough. The high ground is so important to gain an advantage going into these team fights. Florida Mayhem looking to get 2 fights here though before Hangzhou Spark get to the first capture point.
I mean, what's crazy as well was that Hangzhou Spark, as they start to move this push bot forward, Teru's gonna have Kitsune Rush online for this next fight, and that could just be enough momentum for Hangzhou Spark to be able to get this first checkpoint unlocked and get those forward spawns unlocked for themselves as well. Teru was looking for this opening here with the Kitsune Rushes. Florida just postured for position, but that was enough time for Sir Majed to get a Kitsune Rush of his own online for Florida Mayhem to make use of. Everybody on Florida is getting a little low though, but Animo is waiting for the perfect moment to pressure on with that sound barrier, and so now both
Shy overclock.
Okay, they were alive, but not anymore, as Shy's looking for the overclock, but all the while, Checkmate in the Chaos is going to be able to take out his counterpart in Alpha Yi, and with someone popping the Primal Rage and focusing down Shy, that is going to be both damage options for Hangzhou Spark off the board, so Florida Mayhem get back control.
That is an amazing Primal Rage by someone. Finding 2 picks there for the Florida Mayhem to open this up. You do not want to fall behind on this map early. Instead, now it's going to put the Florida Mayhem with the offensive advantage, utilizing this high ground. They have the overclock. Hydron has it ready to go, and Checkmate as well with the Death Blossom. I suspect we're going to see a fast push onto the Hangzhou Spark right here.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I mean, Teru just gets stuck between a rock and a hard place there, as now Swift Step will be able to save Teru to go back to the team. Winston Bubble, though, from Guxue was really nice to at least stop a lot more of that Death Blossom damage.
Yeah, but you got those 2 picks right there. And now it's on Hydron from the Florida Mayhem. He has this overclock, and he's going to have the offensive positioning. Spark looking for a bit of a flank here. They want to utilize this Death Blossom on the high ground, but Hydron needs to find these picks.
Okay, well, Alfie's time to shine as he's looking for a Death Blossom, but Animo takes him out before he's able to use it. Hydron with the overclock as well is just putting so much pressure onto the Hangzhou Spark that despite not getting any picks with it, he's able to push the Spark back. That's going to secure this first checkpoint here for Florida and those forward spawns.
Yeah, and the Hangzhou Spark, you can see the troops are coming back now, so they're looking to engage with this Death Blossom. Florida Mayhem with no ultimates online. Can they find a pick to perhaps even up the fight a bit?
They're gonna have to, because you don't want Florida Mayhem to start running away with things here. As Hangzhou Spark, they want to shut things down now. Kitsune Rush here for Sir Majed is plenty to be able to push that pressure and try to push the limits of what Florida Mayhem can really do. That push bot is gonna go far.
Push bot is gonna keep going, and this is so good for the Florida Mayhem right there. They're going to get to maybe like 80 meters right here. Animo's going to have the sound barrier as well. If I'm the Florida Mayhem, I'm looking to push aggressive with this Primal Rage and this sound barrier as well. Shy is going to get the overclock and the Kitsune Rush. So what if you could throw the Spark off guard right here?
Gonna have to do something to throw them off kilter, because Teru is ready to go with the Kitsune Rush. Florida Mayhem playing a little bit farther back here, but Hydron is just trying to catch everybody off guard, as, well, Super Rich had no idea where Hydron was waiting. Trades back and forth, though, as Shy and Hydron, both Sojourns removed. Guxue, someone continuing to just get picks back and forth, but Hangzhou Spark have to back off. They do have the spawn advantage here, so someone will retreat as he doesn't have very much HP left.
Yeah, but that's 105 meters for the Florida Mayhem with 5 minutes to go here on our push map. Hangzhou Spark, they have the ultimate, but the Florida Mayhem, they're not going to shy away from a fight using this high ground to their advantage.
Yeah, the Florida Mayhem have territorial control right now as Gushue has to get up to them with the primal
Hydron goes down without the beat.
Okay, well, the Animo was going to try to save him there, but Hydron just isn't able to get that overhealth in time to be saved from that railgun charge shot from Shy. And Shy, just with the overclock, taking out members left and right.
Huge fight win there for the Spark, but you committed that overclock and you don't have a Kitsune Rush available. So if you're in the Florida Mayhem here, you're playing defensive. You are recognizing that you have 105 meters to your scoreboard already, and you're looking to stop the Spark from winning a consecutive fights here, really. So the Florida Mayhem, they have overclocked themselves and they're looking to win a fight right now.
Yeah, Florida Mayhem trying to keep that lead with Hydron's overclock. Don't necessarily need to get any picks here, you just need to buy some time. 4 minutes remaining as Hydron's overclock fell a little bit flat there, but did buy time for Sirmajet to use his Kitsune Rush now. Forces out the sound barrier here from Super Rich to keep things competitive here for the Hangzhou Spark, but Hydron with a nice kunai from Teru will be eliminated as Checkmate trying to even the odds.
Checkmate!
The Death Blossom! And that is going to be good enough here for Florida to take back control.
And Checkmate has been such a standout player for the Florida Mayhem right here with that Death Blossom. They're going to secure that fight, and they're just going to move the bot further towards the Hangzhou Spark's base. Hangzhou Spark, if they win a fight here, they're not going to be able to push straight away. They have to move the bot all the way back to their barrier. So the Florida Mayhem here, they're in a prime position right now, and someone has the Primal Rage. Hero with his Kitsune Rush, they need to win this fight, the Hangzhou Spark.
Well, the Kitsune Rush is going to kick things off here for the Hangzhou Spark to make a comeback. But that will force out the Primal Rage from someone. It also forces out the retreat. Hydron gets too low to be able to contest the cart. And everyone else on Florida Mayhem might be soon to follow as Hangzhou Spark play a little bit of tiny Overwatch there. Florida Mayhem, though, do get a retreat.
They do get a retreat, and you know, when we talk about the importance of ultimates, we recognize that Kitsune Rush is one of the strongest abilities in the game. So the Florida Mayhem, they're willing to trade someone's Primal Rage for Teru's Kitsune Rush. Now they're looking to force out more ultimates, and Shy is activating the overclock.
Overclock first. If Alpha he needs it, the Death Blossom could follow, but Shy has found two with the Winston and the Soldier looking for a third. But Gushue is going to steal those away before the team kill comes through as Shy picks off Sirmajet. 9
final blows for Shy so far, but they need more of that if they want to win this map. This might be potentially be enough for the Hangzhou Spark to secure that checkpoint. You can see Tiro pushing this bot up, but someone, he's lurking over there. Someone is lurking, touching this barrier before the checkpoint, and that delay activation occurs.
The Primal Rage is going to start juggling away Florida Mayhem from the point, but Hydron is able to snipe out Super Rich before he can activate the sound barrier. So there's less sustainability on the board for the Spark, and they choose this moment to retreat before they lose anybody else.
And time is dwindling for the Hangzhou Spark. They need consecutive teamfight wins here, but despite investing these ultimates, they're not finding the value they need. Florida Mayhem here, building an overclock and a sound barrier to their advantage. If you're a Mayhem fan, you're really happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, smart backup here for the Hangzhou Spark to allow Super Rich to get back, but Alpha Yi now trying to play hero as the sound barrier from Animo going to, wow, just get deleted here by the Death Blossom from Alpha Yi, and the DPS line of Hangzhou Spark will clean up the Mayhem. And this is where the going starts to get tough, Reinforced. There's a minute remaining for Spark to match and take over the lead that Florida Mayhem have.
We're gonna take a look at Shy right here, finding a couple of picks here for the Hangzhou Spark. And this is really what you were looking for if you're the Hangzhou Spark. Canceling that Death Blossom. They're going to try to secure the checkpoint right here with 1 minute to go. The Kitsune Rush coming in from Teru. This will be the opportunity.
Gushue is going to go after the Lucio. There's just also cleanup here. Spark know that the onus is on them to really start pushing the pressure.
And suddenly, this is looking really bad for the Florida Mayhem. Yes, they have the lead right now, but they've committed so many ultimates in these 2 last team fights that the Hangzhou Spark, suddenly the ultimate economy is in their advantage. And now they've evened out the high ground. Hydron's looking for a flank here, but Shy has the overclock for the Spark.
Shy's using the overclock here, and with less than 30 seconds remaining, this will be a fight. Shy eliminates one, and that's 3 members down here for Florida. This was their last chance, their last hope. They were down a map against the Spark, and with this team kill, Spark will continue to push this forward, but Florida Mayhem get one chance in overtime.
This is the one chance to Florida Mayhem to really survive here in the 2022 playoffs, but they don't have any ultimates. Sermajet has to build his Kitsune Rush, but Gushu is going to go first with the Primal Rage. He's looking to end the series right here, right now.
Primal Rage, Suzu on top. Gushui looks unkillable at the moment as he's starting to juggle away the Florida Mayhem.
Hydron.
And as someone gets eliminated, Hydron goes down. The DPS pressure from Florida Mayhem is starting to crumble. The Kitsune Rush from Sermajet is their last-ditch effort to get themselves back into the series and hope that their respawns will be enough so that reinforcements can come back. But Alpha, he gets the death block from offline. The Salbear from Super Rich is
this is it.
The pressure on that overhealth. And as we see someone try to rush back here with the Doom Fist, he goes down and the overtime is going to expire as the push bot goes over the line and Hangzhou Spark.
Wow.
And Florida Mayhem home.
What a comeback from the Hangzhou Spark on that push game mode. What a sensational victory, clawing themselves back into that map when the odds were stacked against them. Florida Mayhem, they gotta be kicking themselves 105 meters on their scoreboard. But Shy Magic popping up Gushui on that Winston. This is the Spark we wanted to see in the 2022 playoffs.
Woo! That was a hard-fought battle, too. I mean, Florida Mayhem coming into the playoffs. They had to fight tooth and nail through the play-ins. They dominated. This is their 4th match of the playoffs, and they were looking so strong to be able to get to this point. But against all odds, Hangzhou Spark win 2 of their worst game modes.
Yeah, they're looking to turn things on. Turning on the afterburners here in the playoffs, the postseason. Wow,
give it all
what
the
a
gas.
hard-fought battle between these two teams. Good games, handshakes coming out as well from both teams, recognizing, respecting each other, of course. The Florida Mayhem, they've been such an impressive team throughout the season, of course. They got 4th in the Summer Showdown in the Western region, and they've done a good job this season, but today is the Hangzhou Spark coming out on top in this one.
The Hangzhou Spark have been the underdogs ever since we entered into playoffs. And they now have 4 matches under their belt, surviving 2 lower bracket matches so far. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens because we still have to figure out who their opponent is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be either the Houston Outlaws or the London Spitfire facing them here in the lower bracket. Hangzhou Spark are looking scary though.
Especially when you have a Shy on your roster. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Shy will be your player of the match. But it came down to playing the Sojourn. There's really nothing that Shy could not do.
Nothing that this man can't do. I mean, a standout performance from him. And I know it gets repetitive. We keep harping about Shy, but really though, finding these opening picks, he dominated here on Paraiso for the Hangzhou Spark. And Dorado as well. I'd say that's his home map. That's where he feels at most comfortable. And the rest of the Hangzhou Spark, they're doing such an amazing job setting him up as well. Because, you know, Shy, you can claim all you want that he's getting all the resources here, the Kitsune Rush, the Winston barrier, setting him up for success, finding that pick on Animo. But really, the mechanical skill to be able to pull this off, I wish I had the skills this guy has. It is incredible.
I think the thing that just blew me away was when Shy just popped checkmate while he was using Death Block.
That was one of the biggest picks that turned that map around. And I mean, when you look at the stats right here, 12 final blows per 10 minutes, 65% charge shot accuracy. I mean, you couldn't take my stats and like combine it with your Sojourn stats. We wouldn't even, if we combined our stats, we wouldn't be as good as Shy.
No.
What a guy.
No, what a guy indeed. I mean, when you think about how the average of Sojourns right now, it's really been about 55% for that charge shot accuracy, and then just the kills per 10 with the charge shots. That's ridiculous. Having double digits at all, I think, is really impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
Wow, I mean, what an explosively hard-fought battle between these two teams. It's just been a treat to watch Florida Mayhem all season.
It has. Yeah.
Like, especially when, you know, we flip-flopped a little bit. Maybe, you know, hot and cold a little bit towards the beginning of the season. But as they started to warm up, they've gotten better and better. And a lot of people had them as favorites coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the Florida Mayhem, I think it deserves to be mentioned. Of course, they have a ton of rookies on their roster. When they scouted this group of people right here, they said, we see a lot of potential in this Florida Mayhem roster. I mean, someone is a rookie, Hydron is a rookie. This is the first season that Checkmate is really playing damage for them as well. So, Florida Mayhem, this is the end of their chapter in the 2022 season, but we've enjoyed watching them so much. So sad to see them go here in the playoffs. Spark lives on to fight another day.
Yes, the future is bright for Florida Mayhem, but it is brighter even so for the Hangzhou Spark. We've got more action for you, though, for the Overwatch League 2022 playoffs. We still have 2 semi-final matches to get to today, and another musical chair of casters.
Who's going to be on the desk this time? I'm really curious. Who's going to be on the desk with Zoe? Like, we keep shuffling around. What's going on there?
We have no idea.
Yeah.
But you don't either. So it's going to be a party, and we're here for it. Anyway, we'll see you guys on the other side of this break for the game break and also more Overwatch League action.
침착하게 guys. You guys.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Butterfinger. Crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery. No one lays a finger on your Butterfinger.
Welcome back to Game Break. Danny Lim here, joined by the one and only Shy from Hangzhou Spark. Shy, congratulations on getting the win on the Powerpuff Brawl. I think that's what we called it. Anyways, congratulations. I want to ask you, was there anything that you learned from watching Florida Mayhem's previous games in the playoffs that sort of helped you guys get the win today against them?
首先恭喜你恭喜你拿下今天比赛。然后我们想问一下，就是在你们是否有从狂欢队之前的比赛录像中学习到什么，来帮助拿下今天这场比赛？
我们之前跟他们打过几次训练赛吧，然后也经常看他们的录像。我觉得他们的死神玩得很聪明。然后我们就是在打之前提前商量好，就是针对的策略，稍微针对了一下吧。对。
Yes, we play a lot of screens with them and watch a lot of footage of their previous matches as well. So, and we found that their replay is really good. So we decided, and he played really smart. So we decided to counter him, so like that, to make some strategies, and that's it.
All right, interesting. Thank you so much for the amazing answer. Now, I have to ask you, there's a lot of talk right now going around, regarding who the best Sojourn is in the playoffs and in the Overwatch League. So I want to get your thoughts, Shy. Who do you think right now, currently, is the best Sojourn, and why is it you? Why is it Shy from Hangzhou Spark?
在这整个季后赛期间，粉丝们很热衷于讨论谁是联盟第一锁截的这个问题。然后我想问一下，你心
比较厉害，然后我也很尊敬他，我觉得他是我心目中的第一锁截。
I think it will be Lee from Shanghai Dragons because he played kind of sort of like me.